This is Tell with Oshawa Bushcraft. I am out here today to have a conversation about repair kits for the backcountry, more specifically, repair needles. I am really excited to share this idea with you guys for two big reasons. The first reason goes back to 8 years ago when we first started this channel. At the time, there was a ton of great content coming out of the United States on bushcraft and backcountry camping and survival. But there wasn't much content coming out in Canada. And the whole reason we started this channel was to fill that void. And this video harkens back to that very ideal. The second reason is that I pride myself with being honest with you guys about my experience level in a given topic. If I'm trying something for the first time, I will tell you guys I'm trying it for the first time. If I've got a little bit of experience, I'll be honest with how much experience I have. When it comes to this topic, now, I've been a professional leather crafter my entire adult life, and repairing and repurposing and reusing old rundown equipment is one of my specialities. So when it comes to this topic, I'm really confident telling you that I call myself an expert. I'm going to get set up and we will get right into this. Many years ago, Dave Canterbury made famous his 10 C's of survivability as part of the Pathfinder system. One of the items on that list is a cloth sail needle, heavy-duty, high-carbon steel repair needle used usually on ship sails that makes a good general-purpose repair needle. Unfortunately, those needles cannot be sourced anywhere in Southern Ontario. Our options are only to either pay the shipping and the brokerage to bring one over the border from the United States, or use just a generic repair needle from a sewing store, and honestly, they're awful. So, probably 6 or 7 years ago, I was at a local primitive skills gathering, teaching a workshop on making moccasins like these. And my workshop was popular. I had more people show up than I had tools to go around. At the time, I was teaching using an awl to pre-puncture holes in this moose hide and then stitch it with just a heavy sewing needle. And I needed more tools. I didn't want to turn people away. So I went digging through my toolbox and I found these funny needles. They were sharp and they were big. So I handed them out, said, "Here, do your best with these. I don't know what they're for." And not only did those people do well, they finished before everybody else walked away in their new moccasins while people were still working. So I handed those needles out to more people and those people were done fast too. So after the workshop, I get home, I'm putting my tools away, decide I got to get these needles out and find out what's going on. Come on in, have a look at this. Okay guys, these are these cool needles I was talking about. This is known as an S needle. It is sharpened on 3 sides at its point. It's made out of high carbon steel. It has an oversized eye. It has a little bit of jimping on both sides of it, and obviously it's shaped like an S. Now, I never even understood what these needles were for. I thought they were for some blind stitch I didn't know how to do, or for sewing around corners. And what I didn't understand till after that workshop is that this S shape is actually just meant for ergonomics. It lets you be able to grab it in your hand and drive it through things without a pad on your hand. To illustrate that, this is a piece of heavy 1-inch nylon webbing. Might be hard for the average sewing needle to go through. This goes through it no problem. This is, looks like deer hide. No problem. I hope you guys can see that okay. 2 layers of deer. Let's go up to 4 layers of deer. Why not? Nothing to it. This looks like a piece of moose. This is pretty thick stuff. Again, we needed awls to go through this for a regular needle. No problem. Again, 2 layers of moose, like you would normally be sewing. Nothing to it with bare hands. This is 10-ounce veg tan cowhide. This would you make like heavy belts or horse equipment from. I wouldn't ever sew this with just a needle like this, but let's say you did have to repair something that was this heavy. No problem. With my bare hand, right through it. We can even do 2 layers. Okay, just for fun here, let's do 2 layers of cowhide, 2 layers of moose, 2 layers of deer, and a layer of that 1-inch webbing. What are we at there? Almost 3/4 of an inch. That wasn't easy, but I didn't struggle with it either. That's probably 3/4 of an inch thick. So my preferred material for doing these repairs is something like a wax polyester or wax nylon thread. It's used in leatherworking, comes in a bunch of colors. But should I have to, gut paracord and take the guts out of paracord, it'll work just as well with this. Same with if you wanted to unwind bank line and use one strand of bank line. To give you an example of this, this is a ripped flap on a C9 pouch of 82 pattern webbing. You can see I've got a seam right here letting go. This isn't really mission critical. I wouldn't have to repair this in the field, but it's an example of the kind of weights and material we might have to work with. Okay, there's our repair. Now, I could have just slapped a piece of duct tape on this and when I got home stitched it nicer, but honestly this is the same repair I would do back at the shop. With all this fraying nylon, a big sloppy whip stitch is about all it's going to hold that. If I put a sewing machine stitch in there, it just fall apart anyway. So another cool point to mention here, guys, is that this tip has 3 sharpened edges on it. So should you dull it with over time, you could take it to your diamond rod or to a sharpening stone and touch it up and keep it screaming sharp. How sharp are these edges, you guys might ask? Well, this is a standard cheap ferro rod and my repair needle. Hope you guys can see that okay, but it's sharp enough to strike a ferro rod. I think I've illustrated pretty well why these needles are so awesome. I've probably bought 40 or 50 of them now over the years. I've never broken any, but they get lost or stolen or people buy them off me at the end of workshops. When I'm at an event teaching, whether it's like the moccasin making or we're doing Sammy coffee pouches, using those needles majorly streamlines the tools I need to carry. 10 or 15 of those and some basic cutting tools and the leather is usually all we need. I hope at this point, at least some of you have made it to the point where you're ready to go pick some of these up. Where you guys got to go is your local Tandy leather store. And what you're looking for is this. If you're going to look it up, it's called an S-curved sewing needle, part number 11193-00. Tandy has a respectable website. They have over 100 stores in the US and 10 in Canada, which is not a lot, but it is 10 more than we have SRO stores. So these needles go for about $4 Canadian or $2.50 US. I've never broken one or wore one out, so I would be pretty confident with just owning 2 of them. I don't actually tape them to the back of my knife sheath like everybody else does. I own a fair number of knives, and with my luck, when I finally need to repair something, I'm probably not going to have that knife on me, so I keep mine in my ruck. I was excited to bring this to you guys because this is the exact type of content we had in mind when we started this channel. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found it entertaining. And until next time, go outside. YouTube will still be here when you get back.